Hey everybody, welcome to NoDQ&A video right here on youtube.com/NoDQCAW and of course, NoDQ.com. Got a lot of questions here, let's not waste any time, let's get right down to it. How come WWE decided to randomly turn Christian into a face? It seemed like the crowd wasn't cheering him that much because they thought he was still a heel. Your thoughts? Yeah, I mean that's what's going to happen when you randomly turn somebody without any kind of reason whatsoever. The last time fans saw Christian, he was aligned with John Laurinaitis. So, of course, when he initially came out at Over the Limit, I mean, people cheered him because he was a surprise. But then when they had the match with him and Cody Rhodes, the people were confused. They didn't know who to cheer for. And it really hurt the match in terms of crowd heat. Now, the thing about Christian, though, is that I think WWE forced the heel turn on fans in the first place. You look back at Extreme Rules last year when Christian won the World Heavyweight title. Fans were totally behind him. You know, you had Edge backing up Christian. Christian was trying to win the title in tribute to Edge. And people just didn't want to boo Christian. When WWE did the angle where Randy Orton won the title right away from Christian, there was this huge backlash. I mean, people were waiting so many years to see Christian win the title, and then they just took it away from them right away. So how does WWE react to this? They turn Christian heel. Didn't really make a whole lot of sense. You go against what the people want. The people want to cheer Christian, and you turn him heel. So I was never a big fan of the heel turn to begin with, and I'm glad he's back as a babyface again. I think that's what suits him best at this stage of the game. The thing about him is that he's been around for so many years. The crowd really respects him as a worker, and he's very highly regarded. And him being a heel, I just don't think works at this point. And I think that the feud with him and Cody Rhodes will be really good. And I actually think I talked about this a few months ago. Like somebody sent me a question about Cody Rhodes, like who should Cody feud with? And I believe I said Christian, like turn Christian face and have him work with Cody Rhodes because like I said, Christian is the veteran, and working with Cody, they can have house show matches, and it can help Cody a lot. I mean, Cody could definitely benefit from working with Christian and getting better in the ring, and just being able to work a great match with Christian night in and night out. I think will do Cody a lot of good. So I'm all for this feud for the IC title. I think it'll be really good. What's your favorite steel cage match of all time? Personally, I like Eddie Guerrero versus JBL and CM Punk versus Jeff Hardy. Please answer in video your thoughts. Well, going back as a kid, I think my favorite match, I don't know if I would consider it one of the greatest cage matches of all time, but just personally, I really liked the Hulk Hogan and Brutus Beefcake versus Randy Savage and Zeus steel cage match. I think it was like the very end of 1989. It was after SummerSlam of that year. And I thought that was a better match than the SummerSlam match. And it was basically a way to write off Zeus from the storylines. But I thought the match was very entertaining, and Sherry kept trying to get involved. And it was just a lot of fun for me as a kid growing up. One of the most highly regarded steel cage matches is Bret Hart versus Owen Hart from SummerSlam 94. I'm not really a big fan of that match personally, just because I don't like the concept of a cage match where you have both guys trying to run away from each other at all times. And that's what they were doing that whole match. It just kept, one guy knocks the other guy down, and they try to escape the cage. I think the cage match should be a way to, settle a feud. You have two guys who really hate each other. They want to get in there and just beat the hell out of each other. They're not going to be concerned about trying to escape the cage. So, when it comes to that, I think my all-time favorite cage match was Steve Austin and Vince McMahon at St. Valentine's Day Massacre. I mean, that to me was a great cage match because these two guys really hate each other, and obviously Vince is the heel, so he's going to try to cheat and escape the cage and stall for time. I thought that was great when Vince was just on the outside of the cage, not wanting to get in there, and then Austin just beats the hell out of him, and then Austin starts to climb the cage, and he's like, now I'm going to go back in there and give him more punishment. So he goes back in there, beats up Vince some more, and then he starts to climb, and then Vince flips him off. Vince hates Austin so much, he flips him off, and Austin gets back in there. And I thought it was great. I love the finish, too, with Big Show coming in, beating up Austin, and throwing Austin in the cage, and it breaks, and Austin fell on the floor. So, I mean, I thought it was a great match, great storyline. That one's my all-time favorite. I also like the Kurt Angle versus Edge cage match. It was on SmackDown, I think 2002. I just remember Edge doing the spear on Kurt Angle off the top. Just an awesome moment. And for that matter, any of the tag matches, like I think there was one with Edge and Christian versus the Hardy Boys in a steel cage match. I think it was one of the pay-per-views in 2000, Unforgiven or No Mercy, one of those. But that was a great match as well. Was Christian winning the IC title a good or bad move? I think it's good that a veteran has won the IC title from time to time, but I think Rhodes was doing a good job with the title and would rather have seen a feud between the two of them rather than just the Sun win. But yeah, this plays into the earlier question. The thing is, when you bring back Christian, you got to bring him back in a big way. So, I mean, this was pretty good. I mean, obviously, they did the Battle Royal, and Christian won it. And I think it would have made Christian look bad to come back, win the Battle Royal, and then lose the IC title match. So I pretty much figured when he won the Battle Royal, he's winning the title. I mean, that's what makes sense to me. And you can go back and forth with him, I think, for a little bit, and maybe have Rhodes win it and then go on from there. But I definitely see a good feud between those two, and I would let it play out for like the next 3 or 4 months, and perhaps let Rhodes get the title and then either have Christian win it back or just let Rhodes win the feud and then move on to something else. Perhaps put Christian back in the main event picture. Who knows? But yeah, I'm just happy to see that feud. I think it'll be good for both guys, especially Cody Rhodes. Hey Aaron, do you see the CM Punk keeping his growth to the top after he loses the WWE title, or will he just be another guy now that his run as champion is over, and then it crumbles to the mid card again? Okay, I'm not really sure what you're trying to say here. I guess you're trying to say once CM Punk loses the title, will he still be a top guy, or will he be back to the mid card? I think CM Punk has broken that barrier. When he cut that work shoot promo last year, that's what got him from being a upper mid card guy to being a top guy. And I don't think he's ever going to be the number one guy in the company like John Cena, but I don't see him going back to that mid-card level. I think he'll always be one of the top guys now. I mean, he'll be right up there with Orton, and he'll be close to Cena, but not at Cena's level. But I always see CM Punk as being number 2 or number 3 from this point forward for the foreseeable future, definitely. And of course, he's always going to take a back seat when the Rock's around, when Brock Lesnar's around. CM Punk's never going to be the number 1 guy, but I mean, he's doing really well, all things considered, and I think he'll continue to do well with or without the WWE title. And the fact that he's held it for so long, I mean, that tells you that the company does see something in him, and they are behind him as a major player. So, yeah, I think he'll be just fine. What do you think about John Morrison talking to TNA? Do you think it's possible he'll go, and do you think it's a good idea? Please answer in video. I think John Morrison going to TNA would be a bad idea for him. I think that would be career suicide. I think John Morrison has the potential to be a major superstar still. I think that one day he could be a WWE main eventer, and it's all a matter of just stepping up his game in terms of promos and mic work. And I think once he gets there, he will be one of the featured attractions in WWE. I mean, he has all the tools. He has a great look, great build, just a tremendous athlete. He can produce memorable moments like the time that he did the Spider-Man jump at the Royal Rumble. So Morrison is just a very talented guy, and he needs to be in the big league. And I think he would be wasted in TNA. So I think it's a mistake, and I think he should go back to WWE if he has the option. Don't you agree that WWE is too scripted these days? Why doesn't Vince trust the wrestlers today like he did in the 80s, early 90s? I think the idea is that Vince wants as much control over what's going on as possible. When you script the wrestlers, you can control them and make sure they go out there and say exactly what you want them to say. Because when they go out there and they're unscripted, they might say something they're not. And with WWE, they're very well-oiled machine. They like everything to be as close to perfect as possible. And when you're running a TV show, you know, you don't want to go over on a segment. You don't want to go too long and have to cut things out. So you really want to script it and be able to get everything in and time everything just right. And I do think it's a bad thing, though, in terms of it puts handcuffs on the guys. And it can potentially take away possibilities from these guys in terms of perhaps breaking out. I mean, you look at Steve Austin when he did the Austin 316 promo. That was something that he did pretty much on the spot. And if he had been scripted, I mean, perhaps we would have never had Stone Cold Steve Austin as we know him. So that's why I think you need to let the guys go out there and sometimes just wing it, give them bullet points and tell them you need to say this, but you know you can change it up a little bit. I mean, I've seen Raw scripts. I saw one a couple years ago. I don't know how it is today, but I saw one a few years ago, and it was pretty much scripted word for word. I mean, I decided to print out the script, and I actually got it. I saw it before Raw, so I printed it out, and I was watching Raw, and I'm looking at the script here, and I mean, Batista came out, and I knew every single line he was going to say before he said it. So I would like to see it a little bit less scripted. I understand why WWE scripts it so much, like I said, because they're trying to control everything, and you know, they want the TV show to run perfectly without any problems. But I think they need to line up just a little bit at least. All right, that'll wrap things up for this edition of No DQ&A video. Thanks as always for watching. Make sure you subscribe, youtube.com/NoDQCAW. If you want to send a question, go to formspring.me/AaronRift. But I cannot make any guarantees at this point about answering questions. I'm just so backed up here. I'm never going to be able to catch up, but I keep trying. I keep trying to answer as many questions as possible, and I'll continue to do so. To increase your chances of the question being answered, try to ask me a question that I haven't answered already. I know that's difficult, but just try your best. Try to come up with a unique question. Try to word it well. I mean, there was this one question on here I could barely read because it was a mess in terms of sentence structure. So just try to make sure your spelling and grammar is good. And yeah, just keep sending in questions because I do try to go through all of them and at least look at all of them and then pick the ones that I haven't answered before if possible. So on that note, that'll do it for this edition of No DQ&A video. We'll see you next time.